What is going on YouTube? This is a little side profile of my Zastava M90. Some Reddit autists out there may want me to use particular inflection points and say Zastava, but I'm going to say Zastava because it rolls off the tongue. I'm an American. I'm not trying to enunciate my fucking words of you know, foreign companies perfectly, because it doesn't fucking matter. I see that shit in comments all the time, not on my videos, but on other videos where these raging fucktards are going around policing people and how they pronounce things, because apparently, you know, Americans have to try and pronounce everything absolutely perfectly for foreigners, and yet when foreigners come over with their fucking accent, they can, you know, have an accent all they want, and, you know, nobody really corrects them. So everybody can just fuck off, you know, with that perspective. It's for me, Zastava. I like the way that sounds over Zastava. It's just not natural. So I'm going to say Zastava, and you can go sit on a bayonet if you disagree. Anyway, this is the M90. This is chambered in 5.56. It's like with its factory configuration, without an optic and shit like that, without a mag, roughly 8 or 9 pounds or some shit like that. Chambered in 5.56, so obviously you can shoot 223 5.56 ammunition. For the weird guys that are out there, I sadly have to specify, of course, those are not the same cartridges. They are different. 223 and 5.56. They're similar, but they are not the same. I've seen some FUDs in other comment sections just blow a gasket when people say 223 5.56. You know, and they really need that like overemphasis of like, oh yeah, they're different. I get it. I fucking get it. Again, go sit on a bayonet. End of the barrel is 14x1 left-hand thread, so you can use a lot of the standard AKM stuff as well as adapters. Really cool features. This comes with a little 3-position kind of like a gas piston, well, not even a gas piston, gas puck kind of system. To my knowledge, I guess, which flew under my radar because I really haven't been into AKs lately. I've been into other stuff. A gentleman came out with, or a company came out with a 5-position little gas block, gas puck, gas piston thing. So that's pretty fucking cool. It was actually an ad for a M77 that turned me on to that. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I need to pick one of those up. Even though I don't plan on shooting suppress, it's still a cool 5.56, you know, M90 accessory that now I have to have. Rolling down, I have the factory Zastava M-Lock style of lower forearm. It's advertised as being cleaning rod compatible. It's not. It's compatible in the sense that you can fit it in there, but it's as loose as a $2 Filipino ladyboy. It's not going to stay in whatsoever. There's no retention device. It'll fit in there, but it'll just fall right out. So what I ended up doing, because again, I'm an autistic OCD guy, is the cleaning rod itself. I went out and I got these little washers that have a rubber gasket in them, and what I'm doing is I'm using the tension from those. I just basically pierced them, and it creates tension in this little window. There's a little slot underneath here. I'll show it here when I change the camera angle. But that's what helps retain this so that it doesn't come out under fire unless I like fucking yank it out. I don't clean my rifle with the cleaning rod, but for me, again, because of the OCD and rabid autism that I have, it just bothers me to not have a cleaning rod there if it's there. So I kind of just want it to have it. But other than the cleaning rod issue, it's just kind of a very basic, you know, M-Lock lower forearm. I don't think I would personally go out of my way to get the Zastava model. I think there's a couple of other models out there. I haven't really looked into it because I'm not shopping around currently, but I could have sworn I've seen 1 or 2 other ones. Rolling, you know, up top, this is just a factory little polymer, you know, upper forearm or upper gas tube cover. There's a whole host of different things you can go with in terms of these standard style of Yugo covers. But in terms of replacing the gas tube, this is where it gets a little shitty, is you're dependent upon this whole gas piston thing with the little tab here. And yes, Zastava will repair this for you, Zastava USA, but they won't sell you a new gas tube. And I've kind of begged them for it, and they're like, nah. But it pisses me off that Apex had new old stock gas tubes for sale, and it was only like $40, and I was like, well, it's a little expensive for a gas tube. And then it sold out, and I was like, fuck. So that kind of sucks. I guess there's JMac Customs or some other company. I don't know who, but I've seen snippets of pictures that they designed a railed gas tube that has a little tab that you can set on there. I don't know if that ever came to fruition, but it was like mentioned online for a brief period of time. I got to look into that, but it's nothing that I've really entertained because I'm on to different projects. And so when I was kind of like just shooting this and having fun with it, none of that stuff was really there. But I've seen snippets online about it. Rolling back, I have the grip that came with this from the factory. This is their Magpul grip that they slapped on there. I like these as AK grips. They're comfortable. I like them. I like the little storage compartment for, Skittles and, shit like that. I kept the Zukov folding stock. I know with the whole polymer folding, mechanism in there, if I was running and gunning, the risk of breaking that would be pretty high, and I'd probably go with something a lot stronger. But because I shoot from a bench and I shoot prone and I'm not really like beating the shit out of this rifle, for me it's adequate. Some guys complain about the slap of the stock because this is much lighter than the front half, and under recoil this can kind of kick up and hit you in the face if you're not holding it tight against the shoulder. I guess if you just hold it tighter, it's not going to happen. Or if you can get a heavier stock, it's not going to be as noticeable. Some people have talked about comb height being the issue, but it comes down to more of a weight issue, a balance issue of the rifle. At least what I've noticed for me, because I have noticed that on my Npap wood stock. It had a high cheek comb, but because of the lightness of the stock, I noticed I was getting a little bit of that cheek slap in there. So, anyway, long story short, the tighter you hold it, it's going to kind of eliminate that. So as long as you really tuck it in the shoulder, you're perfectly fine. I like the adjustability of this. I also like the fact that through its design, it allows you to use these cheek comb, kind of adapters, so you can go a little bit higher if you have a higher mounted optic or what have you. I went with, and this is a cheap ass scope mount, but I went with a UTG scope mount because I believe it actually predates the Zastava USA scope mount or a couple of the other ones. So I just went with this right off the bat because it's the first one I get my hands on, and this was shortly after they released these rifles to market. So I mean, that's all I had, and I'm not going to go out and buy another one since this has kind of worked. That being said, it's probably not the best. It feels like there's some flex if I wrench on it. Of course, I can kind of get it to move. I would invest in something a little bit more expensive, but it is what it is, and it's what I've got right now. I am keen on a lot of the offerings that are out there for the Yugo line of rifles. I don't really need to have suggestions on that. It's just not, it's not something I'm entertaining currently. I'm going to ride this one till it breaks, and then, from there I'll go and I'll buy something else. Just like my M85, this uses all the magazines that are seen here, so when I do the top view, we'll kind of go over that. But I think I have a Vortex on there, a little optic that I'm rocking, and it actually works pretty well for this rifle. Nice and compact. I am kind of scooting it all the way to the rear. It's not a perfectly centered rifle, but still a centered optic, but it still works for what it is, and then it fits where my face fits. So Lemon Grenade kind of talks about where he rocks his ACOG. This works for how I hold this rifle, and again, I'm not running and gunning. I'm shooting prone or from a bench, and this is just the position that works really well for me. I'm about 6'6" on a good day, 6'5", if I've been standing all day. And so for me, it's just this works for my particular setup. I just, for my neck and length of pull and everything like that, it's what I like, so if yours is set up differently and yours needs to be more centered, then that's fucking great. You can spread these out more, but this is the setup that I went with. I really don't give a fuck. Other than that, that's the M90 in a nutshell. We'll go ahead and change camera angles and then kind of, plug and play with some of those AK mags over there, the 5.56 AK mags, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so the M90, I haven't really done a mag fitment test. Sometimes because these come over as rifles, they are neutered, and Zastava USA has to kind of open up the mag well and change some things around. That being said, you can run into issues where you have a tighter mag well and it may not play well with some of these. I had to actually send mine back to Zastava USA. They were wonderful when I did it. Their opening of the mag well did not take much, and now it works with basically everything as you see here. But I'm a visual guy, and I don't believe people when they tell me shit. I need to see it for myself. So this is in here is a 10 round AC Unity magazine. I liked having this one. I have a 10 rounder, well, about 20 10 rounders, but for the most part, since this is polymer, I want to go ahead and use this when I take this guy out. But I have a shit ton of the 10 round magazines that that fit in here that are steel. First up, we have the Zastava steel magazine, and I got about fucking 50 or 40 of these guys. I bought a ton of these when they went on sale, but this just rocks and locks in really easily, just like that. This is what the rifle, or my M85 pistol actually came with, this kind of an R4 style of Galil magazine, very cheap and flimsy, but this one fits just fine. Okay, this is the polymer Zastava magazine. As you can see here, here's the chewing. So when I had a tighter mag well, this is actually what was happening, because I couldn't actually get this to latch in or out. Okay, fits in just fine. Tapco Galil mag. Fits in just fine. Awesome magazines, and you can still find these. They work really well in the M85 and M90. I believe this is the WBP. Let's see, is there any markings on here? Yeah, WBP 20 round magazine. Which, by the way, I've been trying to champion for PSA or AC Unity. Make 20 round magazines. Make 20 round magazines. They're very handy. You can shoot from a fucking bench. It's enough rounds. It's a whole box of ammunition. Make 20 round magazines. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. But anyway, this is a non-reinforced. Whoa, a non-reinforced magazine. Okay, fits in like that. A little bit hard at this angle. All right, so oddly enough, this does not fit. My mag well is a little bit too tight. The 20 rounder fit okay. The 30 rounder is struggling a little bit. So I could have sworn this fit my M90, but I must have just been popping this in my M85. So that's a little frustrating. The Gorilla 556 AK magazine. Again, cheap, flimsy polymer. Okay, looks like that fits. Yeah. Yeah, that fits okay. Here's the shitty Pro Mag 556 magazine. If I really whack it, that'll fit. But yeah, but doing it at an angle is a little bit of a bitch. Here's slowly becoming my favorite 556 AK magazine. This is a converted Bakelite East German AK-74 magazine. This one was the one that was modified that I was nervous about. I did not do this. I bought it sight unseen, and then I saw it and I was like, oh fuck, but it actually works really well. This fits in just fine. Okay. Standard, unmodified. Okay. This is the Bulgarian from Gun Mag Warehouse 556 AK magazine, and then the in bag brown and OD green. There's no difference. Okay, fits in just fine. Works really well for the M90s. Again, 20 round magazines, 10 round magazines. Fucking make them. They just actually dropped 45 round magazines of the Bulgarian style of 556 AK magazines on Gun Mag Warehouse. AK-74 pot arms follower. Okay, fits in. I can whack these. A little bit tight to get in, but it fits. These are the PSA 556 AK magazines. Some of these were a little bit tight in my M85, but again, basically all the same dimensions. They're going to fit. Okay, fits beautifully in the M90. Just a beautiful mag. I'm a huge fan of the PSA 556 AK magazines. Clear 556 AC Unity magazine. Let's see, got like the
AK-12 magazine for the AK-74.
Whatever the fuck these are. But anyway, got this guy. Fits in and kind of looks pretty sharp. Really cool, different type of window. This is the OG. I think this is their Gen 2 556 AK magazine with the different kind of base plate down here. I can't recall if I have the first gen. Let's see. Do they have a cage? Nope, no Gen 1, Gen 2 thing. This could be a Gen 1, but anyway, fits just fine. Okay. These, again, work really well. And then you guys have already seen in the M85 video, the 45 and 60 round magazine from AC Unity. Okay, fits in. Fits in. Okay, so some of the things that I want to do with the M85 and M90 is I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to clean this up really quick. I'm going to go ahead and get the 45 round Bulgarian mags from Gun Mag Warehouse. I'm going to get the KCI drum that's for sale, and then you know we'll slowly still acquire some of the surplus. I need a plum and a black AK-74 magazine because I have pot arms followers for those, but I just need to round out the collection for these guys. I'm sure there's another color I'm missing, but still, you know, not too shabby. All right, lastly, here's those washers that I was talking about that lock in the cleaning rod. See that right there? My solution, I could be missing a part. Who fucking knows? Because I got it used, but to my knowledge, there's nothing I see inside of there unless there's a metal bracket or a ribbon or something where this goes down to create tension. It just fits through there, but there's nothing there. So there could be a missing heat shield. I don't fucking know, but that was my solution. Really easy. I just took little pliers, you know, stuck it down in there right through both of them, and now it retains it, and it's going to take a little bit of oomph, but you have a little bit of this captured thing, so unless I really yank on this, those aren't coming off, and I'm able to retain this while utilizing this. You could just take it off. I could be missing something. I don't fucking know, but for the most part, that's my M90 in a nutshell. Yeah, really fun rifle. Not a massive amount of rounds downrange on this one yet. I've been moving on to different projects, but I really like it. Lemon Grenade has a good video that talks about 5.56 AKs, and if you're in it for like collecting or just to have something neat, fuck yeah, you know, sky's the limit. If you got money to burn, hell yeah. The 5.56 AKs are really good, but because of the proprietary parts, lack of availability for like firing pins and stuff like that, there's a whole host of things you can run into that can be issues for, you know, the 5.56 AK owner. And, you know, honestly, with, you know, even some of the mid-level or entry-level AR, you know, 15s out there, you can get a good 20-inch barrel. You know, you can upgrade your bolt carrier group and stuff like that, upgrade your buffer and buffer spring. You know, and you have a very modular, you know, very repairable rifle that if you're going to just buy one gun for the price it would cost you here, you could get two entry-level ones, totally different barrel profiles, a pistol and a rifle. You know, the prices on these have kind of gone up and down. I think mine was like 12 and change, something like that. Some people, when they first came out, paid like 16 or 18. You know, so they're costly, and then there's a lot of other ones that are very costly. I don't see PSA, other than their AK pistol line, I don't see them making any of the rifles anymore. The ones they did have, they've since kind of discontinued. They have the little magazine adapter for the AR mags, but I haven't seen any other rifle variants that they're coming out with, although I am very happy with their AK magazines, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah, other than that, it's, you know, I see what Lemon Grenade was talking about. You know, his comparisons definitely, you know, resonate. They make a lot of sense. You know, if you're looking at this from like maybe, you know, survival standpoint, or if you want more of a combat or competition rifle, there's a lot of better options out there. But, you know, if you like these because they're unique and you got the money to burn, I think they're good rifles. The weight doesn't bother me because, again, I shoot from benches. I shoot prone. I really enjoy them. And my current kind of favorite setup is more of the DMR style with a longer flash hider. I don't really mind the weight. You know, I may or may not have a folding stock, usually, you know, running an optic, something like that. This is the way to go. It is expensive, but, you know, if I was looking at this from a, you know, an economic standpoint, I would not get the Zastava M90 simply to save money. I would buy something else. But if you got money to burn, this is one of the peak 5.56 AK rifles, in my opinion. And they have a you know, a U.S. representative that is willing to work on what might break with their warranty, so long as they're still in business. But that's about it for the M90 here. Thank you guys for watching. I don't get to my channel often, but if I upload, I will try and get back to everybody that I see through the notifications. All right, take care.